which again is one of the things. I mean, this sort of gets me off on a track of, you know, why the media have a responsibility, and sometimes that responsibility is not being met, I think. Um, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I don't think it's fair to use the word media anymore,
Mm,
because what media used to be
yes.
was what you and I would like it to be now, aka um, uh, an accurate representation of a complicated issue.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not to say that it's without bias, because that's very difficult to achieve. However, presenting both sides of an argument and presenting the facts of an argument, and then maybe your conclusion has your own personal opinion in it, fine. Fine. That's kind of the point of you being a writer. But that's not the case now. Uh, the the words printed in media, quote unquote, is entirely derived around money and pushing agendas, right? And that's not the point of
Yeah,
media.
I think this is a real challenge, actually, because a lot of what you see out there, as you say, there's no balance there. There's, I mean, it's a mixed bag, right? So, you know, you have really bad examples and you have better examples, you know, but across the board, I think there's a real problem with, there's a lot of opinion that's being presented as fact. And again, you know, a lot of cases where things have not been well researched, but it may be that a particular angle on something will sell newspapers. And so somebody's going to do that, whether it's accurate or not, whether it serves the public interest or not. If it sells newspapers, well, and
There's money to be made, yeah.
yeah.
And
And again, I mean, the other problem is when there's so many voices out there, because we're not just talking about the traditional print media or, you know, traditional broadcast media. You've got, you know, every blogger on the internet. You know, you've got social media. You've got, you know, um, all of those voices as well competing for airtime. And I think people will tend to gravitate towards things that grab attention. And the things that grab people's attention are the things that spark strong emotion, you know, whether that's fear or outrage or, you know, anger. And those are the things that people will focus on. So even if you've got 99 out of 100 headlines are well balanced, well researched, you know, responsible reporting, and that one isn't, that one is going to get a disproportionate amount of people's attention. So again, you've got that selection bias, which in itself then drives people more towards that kind of sensationalist reporting, because that's what grabs people's attention. That's what gets your words in front of more viewers, which then drives advertising revenue. It drives, you know, publicity for your media outlet, and so on and so on. So I think that's a real challenge. And again, I don't have any very good solutions to what we do about that, because I think it's almost one of those sort of slight bugs in the human operating system, isn't it? It's when I say bugs, I mean it was evolutionarily adaptive at one point for us to pay attention to the thing that was sparking that strong emotion. You know, I think when we lived in small bands in hunter-gatherer communities, you know, that made absolute sense. But now, when you've got access to information from across the planet, and news about what 7 billion people are doing, that's paying selective attention to the bits that make you angry is going to become exhausting, because there will always be things going on that spark that strong emotion. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the most relevant to your individual life. It doesn't mean that that's actually what you should be paying attention to in terms of, you know, and it doesn't mean that it's accurate as well, because like I say, you know, these days we get most of that information secondhand. You know, it's not from that trusted source in our own village who we know personally. It's from somebody who, you know, we may have heard of, but that quality control and that sense of, you know, is this accurate? Is this fair? We've lost that individual accountability, I think.